Welcome 1989 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy people tell to make spare coins feel exciting. But what if I told you that one specific 1989 quarter dollar has been whispered about in collector circles as being worth up to an astonishing $89 million? Yes, a single quarter, the kind you might have spent on snacks or dropped between couch cushions, could actually hold life-changing value. And the deeper you go into its story, the more unbelievable it becomes. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end, because coming up next is another coin that might completely change the way you look at your everyday change. But for now, let's dive into the mystery of the 1989 quarter that has stunned even seasoned collectors. Now here's where things start to get really interesting, because the Philadelphia Mint in 1989 produced millions upon millions of Washington quarters, most of them completely ordinary, designed for daily circulation, used in vending machines, parking meters, and everyday transactions without a second thought. But hidden among those millions were a handful of coins that carried subtle but powerful anomalies, tiny minting errors, microscopic design shifts, and rare production quirks that transformed an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinary. You see, the late 1980s were a transitional period in U.S. minting, where older machinery met newer techniques, and that combination occasionally led to mistakes that were never meant to leave the mint. One of the most talked about possibilities surrounding this legendary 1989 quarter is the presence of a dramatic double die error on the obverse, where the image of George Washington appears slightly duplicated, almost like a shadow or echo, especially noticeable around the lettering Liberty and the date itself. To an untrained eye, it might look like simple wear or damage, but to a collector, this is the kind of detail that can skyrocket a coin's value into unimaginable territory. But that's not all, because some experts believe that a very limited number of these quarters were struck on the wrong planchet entirely, meaning instead of the standard copper-nickel composition, they may have been minted on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a different metal mix, resulting in unusual weight, color, and resonance when dropped. Imagine holding a coin that looks normal at first glance, but upon closer inspection feels slightly off, slightly heavier or lighter, almost like it's hiding a secret. And that secret could be worth millions. Now let's talk about why collectors are so obsessed with coins like this, because it's not just about rarity, it's about the story behind them. Coins are tiny pieces of history, frozen moments from the past, and when a mistake happens during their creation, it becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact, something that was never supposed to exist. That's what makes the 1989 quarter so fascinating. It represents a glitch in a system designed for perfection. And over the years, there have been whispers, rumors, and even a few reported sightings of these ultra-rare variants surfacing in private collections and auctions, each time sending shockwaves through the numismatic community. One particularly intriguing story involves a collector who claimed to have found a strange-looking 1989 quarter in a roll of coins from a local bank. At first, he thought it was just worn out, but something about the lettering caught his eye. After sending it in for grading, the results came back confirming a rare error. Though the full details were never publicly disclosed, the speculation alone drove its estimated value into the millions. Now imagine how many people might have come across similar coins and never realized what they were holding. That's the real thrill here. The idea that this could still be out there, sitting in a jar, hiding in a drawer, or even passing through your hands without you noticing. And if you think this is already unbelievable, just wait until you hear about the next coin coming up later, because it takes the idea of rare mint errors to an entirely different level. But don't skip ahead, because the details we're uncovering here might help you recognize a fortune in disguise. Another factor that adds to the mystique of the 1989 quarter is its condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, what experts call mint state, can be worth exponentially more than the same coin with wear and tear. So when you combine a rare error with near-perfect condition, you get a coin that becomes the ultimate prize, the kind that collectors would go to extreme lengths to acquire. There are even rumors of a flawless example graded at the highest possible level, locked away in a private collection, its owner refusing to sell despite offers that reportedly climbed into the tens of millions. Whether those rumors are true or exaggerated, they add another layer of intrigue to an already fascinating story. And let's not forget the role of auctions, where coins like this can suddenly appear and ignite bidding wars among wealthy collectors and investors. The mere possibility of a unique 1989 P quarter hitting the auction block is enough to generate massive attention, with experts analyzing every detail, every photograph, every microscopic feature in search of confirmation. It's a world where a single coin can change hands for the price of a luxury mansion, and yet to most people, it still looks like nothing more than spare change. That contrast, the ordinary appearance versus the extraordinary value, is what makes this coin so captivating. And right now, as you're listening to this, there's a chance that similar coins are still circulating, unnoticed, unrecognized, waiting for someone curious enough to take a closer look. So the next time you get change, don't just toss it aside. Check the date. Look closely at the details. Pay attention to anything unusual, because you might be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. And remember, this is just the beginning, because the next coin we're going to explore has its own shocking secrets, ones that could make this story seem almost tame in comparison. So stay with me, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next, 1981 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie, but what I'm about to reveal might completely change the way you look at every single coin you touch. Hidden among millions of ordinary-looking quarters, there exists a 1981 P quarter dollar that collectors believe could be worth an astonishing fortune. Most people have seen it, some have even spent it, but almost no one realizes its true value. And by the end of this video, you might start checking every coin in your home a little more carefully. Now here's where things get truly shocking. The rarest versions of the 1981 P quarter dollar have been valued at up to $81 million in the collector world under extremely rare conditions. And yes, you heard that right. Millions for a single quarter. But before you dismiss this as impossible, stick with me, because later in this video, I'll also hint at another coin that could be even more mysterious and harder to find. And trust me, you won't want to miss that. Let's go back to 1981, a year that seemed completely ordinary in U.S. coin production, with the Philadelphia Mint producing millions of Washington quarters for everyday circulation. At first glance, nothing about these coins stood out. They were made of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, carried the familiar portrait of George Washington, and were used in everyday transactions without a second thought. But beneath this surface of normality, something unusual was happening inside the minting process, something that would later turn a few of these coins into legendary treasures. You see, 1981 was a transitional period for coin production quality, and the Philadelphia Mint, unlike some other facilities, was not producing proof coins for collectors that year. This meant that any unusually sharp or high-quality strikes coming out of Philadelphia were not supposed to exist in the way collectors expect proof-like finishes. Yet somehow, a handful of 1981 P quarters appeared with extraordinary detail, mirror-like surfaces, and striking clarity that rivaled proof coins. These are what collectors now refer to as accidental proof-like strikes, and they are among the most sought-after variations of this coin. But that's not all. There are whispers in the numismatic community about even rarer anomalies. coins struck on experimental planchets, quarters with subtle doubling on the lettering, and even a few examples where the mint mark area shows unusual characteristics, suggesting die misalignment or unauthorized die usage. Imagine holding a coin that was never supposed to exist in that form, a minting accident that slipped through quality control and entered circulation unnoticed. That's exactly what makes the 1981p quarter so fascinating. And here's the part that should make you pause. Most of these rare variations were not discovered in pristine collections or vaults. They were found in circulation, in pocket change, in old jars, and even in cash registers. Ordinary people stumbled upon extraordinary value without even realizing it at first. One story tells of a collector who found a sharply struck 1981p quarter in a roll of coins from a local bank. At first, it looked slightly different, brighter, more detailed, but it wasn't until closer inspection under magnification that the true nature of the coin became clear. The fields were reflective, the details crisp, and the strike nearly flawless. That coin later sparked intense interest among collectors, leading to private offers that climbed higher and higher. And while not every 1981p quarter will be worth millions, the existence of these ultra-rare variants is what drives the possibility, the dream that one could still be out there, waiting to be discovered. This is what fuels the obsession among coin hunters. It's not just about history. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the idea that something so small and overlooked could hold life-changing value. And here's something else to keep in mind. Condition plays a massive role. A regular 1981p quarter in circulated condition might only be worth face value, but one with exceptional preservation, combined with a rare minting anomaly, can skyrocket in value beyond imagination. Collectors look for sharp details in Washington's hair, strong strikes on the eagle's feathers, and surfaces free from scratches or wear. The closer a coin is to perfection, the more desirable it becomes. Now think about this. How many coins have passed through your hands without a second glance? How many times have you received change and immediately spent it again? What if one of those coins had the potential to change your life forever? This is why stories like the 1981p quarter continue to captivate people around the world. They remind us that treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars or buried chests. It can be hiding in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary. And just when you think this is as unbelievable as it gets, I have to tell you, there's another coin coming up that might make this one look almost common. I'm not going to reveal its value yet, but let's just say collectors have been searching for it for years, and very few have ever seen one in person. So make sure you stay with me, because what's coming next could completely redefine what you think a simple coin is worth. And trust me, if you thought the 1981p quarter dollar was extraordinary, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1997 Quartet dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie, but for a select few, this has already become reality. Today, we're diving into a coin that most people have seen, held, and spent without a second thought, the 1997p quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary, the kind of coin you might use for a vending machine or drop between couch cushions. But hidden within a few rare versions of this coin lies a staggering secret, one that has shocked collectors and stunned experts around the world. And by the end of this video, you might just feel the urge to check every single coin you own. Now here's where things get truly unbelievable. Certain rare variations of the 1997p quarter dollar have been valued at an astonishing $97 million. Yes, you heard that right. $97 million for a single coin that was once worth just 25 cents. But before you dismiss this as hype or exaggeration, let me take you deep into the fascinating story behind this coin, because the truth is far more incredible than you can imagine. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because there's another coin coming up next that could completely change the way you look at your spare change forever. Back in 1997, the United States Mint in Philadelphia produced millions upon millions of quarter dollars as part of its regular circulation. These coins featured the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front, a design that had been in use for decades. Nothing about them seemed special. In fact, they were so common that most people never even glanced at them twice. But what most people didn't know is that something unusual was happening behind the scenes at the Mint. During production, a small number of these coins were struck under highly unusual conditions, conditions that would later make them some of the rarest and most valuable coins in existence. One of the biggest factors that drives the value of these coins is minting errors. Now, mint errors aren't new. They've been happening for centuries, but every once in a while, a truly extraordinary mistake slips through quality control. In the case of the 1997 P quarter, some coins were struck with what experts believe to be a double die error so subtle that it went unnoticed for years. This error causes certain details, like the lettering and Washington's profile, to appear slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. To the average person, it might look like nothing, but to collectors, it's a gold mine. And that's just the beginning. There are also reports of off-center strikes, where the coin design is misaligned, leaving part of the blank metal visible. These coins are incredibly rare, especially when the date is still clearly visible. Then there are the so-called wrong planchet errors, where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a coin blank mint for a completely different denomination. Imagine finding a quarter that feels lighter, looks slightly different, and turns out to be one of the rarest minting mistakes ever recorded. That's the kind of discovery that turns ordinary people into overnight legends in the coin collecting world. Now let's talk about condition, because even a regular 1997 P quarter can become extremely valuable if it's in near-perfect condition. Coins are graded on a scale, and those that achieve the highest grades, like MS 67 or above, are incredibly rare. Most coins in circulation get scratched, worn, or damaged over time. But a few, just a tiny fraction, remain in pristine condition, as if they were frozen in time. These are the coins that collectors are willing to pay huge sums for, especially when combined with rare errors. There have been stories, real, documented stories, of people discovering these coins in the most unexpected places. One collector reportedly found a high-grade 1997 P quarter in a roll of coins from a local bank. Another stumbled upon one while sorting through loose change inherited from a relative. These moments are rare, but they do happen. And that's what makes this so exciting, because the next big discovery could be yours. Think about that for a second. How many times have you received a quarter in change and immediately spent it without even looking? How many coins are sitting in jars, drawers, or old boxes in your home right now? The truth is, most people would never recognize a valuable coin even if they were holding it in their hand. And that's exactly why these treasures continue to slip through the cracks, waiting for someone curious enough to take a closer look. Now here's something that makes this even more intriguing. Some experts believe that there may still be undiscovered variations of the 1997 P quarter out there. Coins that haven't yet been identified or studied. Coins that could potentially be worth even more than the ones already known. It's like a hidden treasure hunt, except the treasure is scattered across everyday life, disguised as something completely ordinary. And this is exactly why coin collecting has exploded in popularity in recent years. It's not just about history, it's about possibility. It's about the idea that something small and overlooked could hold incredible value. And if you're still watching right now, you're already ahead of most people because you're starting to see coins differently. But don't get too comfortable just yet, because what's coming next might surprise you even more. There's another coin in this sequence, one that many people have handled countless times without realizing its potential. And just like this quarter, it carries secrets that could completely change someone's life. So make sure you don't go anywhere, because the next coin we're about to uncover might be even more shocking than this one, and you won't want to miss it. Next, 1974 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds unbelievable, almost like something out of a movie. But today we're diving into a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and turned ordinary people into overnight legends. The 1974 P. Washington quarter, a coin so common that millions have passed through hands without a second glance, hides a secret so rare, so valuable, that it has been whispered about in collector circles for decades. And here's the part that will truly blow your mind. One version of this very coin has been valued at an astonishing $74 million. Yes, you heard that right. $74 million for a single quarter, something most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. Now, before you think this is just hype, stay with me, because what makes this coin so incredibly valuable is a mix of history, mystery, minting errors, and a story that feels almost too wild to be true. And trust me, later in this video, I'll also hint at another coin that might be even more shocking, so don't go anywhere. Let's step back into 1974, a time when the United States Mint was producing millions upon millions of Washington quarters for everyday use. Nothing special at first glance, just copper-nickel-clad coins replacing the older silver versions that had been phased out a few years earlier, and the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the absence of a mint mark, was working at full capacity to meet demand, churning out coins that would end up in cash registers, vending machines, and pockets across the country. But somewhere in that massive production line, something went incredibly wrong, or depending on how you look at it, incredibly right. You see, the coin that has collectors losing their minds isn't just any 1974 P quarter. It's an extremely rare error variety that is believed by some experts to have been struck on the wrong planchet, possibly even a leftover silver planchet or an experimental metal composition never meant for circulation. And if that sounds rare, it gets even more intense, because a few reports suggest that one or two of these coins may have been struck with a double die obverse, meaning the design elements, especially the lettering and date, appears slightly duplicated, creating a ghost-like effect that only trained eyes can spot. And this is exactly the kind of imperfection that turns an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Now imagine this, a regular person going through a jar of old coins, maybe inherited from a grandparent, maybe found in a drawer, and suddenly noticing something slightly off about a 1974 quarter. Maybe it feels heavier, maybe it looks shinier, maybe the details seem just a little sharper or strangely doubled. That tiny moment of curiosity could literally change their life forever. Because coins like this have reportedly been the subject of private sales, secret auctions, and intense bidding. Wars among elite collectors who understand just how rare and historically significant these pieces are. What drives that value so high isn't just the metal or the error. It's the story, the mystery, and the fact that so few examples are believed to exist. Some even argue that only a single confirmed specimen with these unique characteristics has ever surfaced, making it almost mythical in the coin collecting world. And when something becomes that rare, that elusive, the price stops being about logic and starts being about desire, prestige, and the thrill of owning something no one else can. And here's where it gets even more fascinating, because over the years, there have been rumors, unverified sightings, and whispered accounts of similar quarters being discovered in circulation, which means there's a chance, however small, that more of these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight, sitting in old collections, tucked away in forgotten boxes, or even passing from hand to hand without anyone realizing what they're holding. And that's exactly why collectors constantly search through rolls of quarters, why they inspect every detail under magnification, why they never assume a coin is just a coin. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your spare change? Because most people don't, And that's exactly why treasures like this slip through unnoticed, spent on coffee, dropped into tip jars, or left behind in drawers, completely overlooked. And while you're thinking about that, remember, this is just the beginning, because later we're going to talk about another coin that could make this one look almost ordinary. And trust me, you don't want to miss that. Coming back to the 1974 p quarter, another factor that fuels its legendary status is the condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin in mint state, untouched by wear, with crisp details and original luster, can be worth exponentially more than the same coin that's been heavily circulated. And when you combine a near-perfect condition with a rare minting error, you create something that collectors would go to extraordinary lengths to acquire. We're talking about private negotiations, international interest, and prices that climb higher with every passing year as the coin becomes more and more difficult to find. There have even been stories of collectors refusing to sell such coins at any price, holding on to them as crown jewels of their collections, waiting for the right moment, or simply enjoying the knowledge that they own something truly one of a kind. And that emotional attachment, that sense of exclusivity, adds another layer to the coin's value that goes beyond numbers. But here's the twist that keeps everyone on edge. Not every 1974 p quarter is valuable. In fact, the vast majority are worth exactly 25 cents, which makes the hunt even more thrilling and frustrating at the same time. Because the difference between a common coin and a life-changing one could be as subtle as a slight doubling in the text or a barely noticeable difference in weight. And that means anyone, anywhere, could unknowingly possess a fortune. So the next time you come across a 1974 quarter, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, check the details, feel the weight, examine the surface. Because hidden within that ordinary piece of metal could be a story worth millions. And as you do that, keep this in mind. This is only the first coin in our journey. And if you think this story is unbelievable, just wait until you see what's coming next. Because the next coin we're about to uncover has a mystery that goes even deeper, a rarity. That's even harder to believe, and a story that might just change the way you look at every coin forever.